Hey there fellas, how y'all doing? So recently, as I'm sure most of you already know, there's some pretty big news around the ArmA community. So going by the name of the CUP, and that is the Community Upgrade Project. It's a, well, I guess impressive to say the least, effort to bring back the content that already existed in ArmA 2, now back into ArmA 3, but this time around, you know, with the standards of quality that we come to expect from ArmA 3. And if you've used All-in ArmA around its first release, you definitely know what I'm talking about here. Before we get into the review proper, I just want to, of course, congratulate the developers and everyone involved in the project. I sincerely believe that this is the future of ArmA 3 when it comes to the modding scene. And, you know, exactly because bringing something that resembles a standard to the community is just extremely important. So, a huge thank you for making this happen, first and foremost. So, my first impressions are, it's amazing. It really is amazing. It's very astounding what they managed to achieve, and especially in the first release. Just the fact that this exists is already an attestment to how dedicated, you know, this community is. But I'm not gonna focus on these good parts because you're probably already expecting those. What I will focus on are on the bad parts, or rather what still needs some improvement. So let's just go over the stuff they've included in its first release. It features 3 shotguns, 3 grenade launchers, 7 SMGs, 11 accessories, 14 launchers, 19 machine guns, 22 pistols, 39 sniper rifles, 42 optics, and 142 assault rifles. And then there's in a note here, they're all powered by Girastas, which is you know, a sound mod made by Lord Jarhead. Also included here as additional assets are 2 mines, 3 flags, 4 explosives, 7 miscellaneous items, 12 extra vehicle classes, 49 backpack variants, 51 ammo box variants, 97 pre-configured infantry groups, and 378 pre-configured infantry units. Now if you're wondering what they meant by pre-configured units, it's just basically, well, I guess what it sounds like. You already have the existing units from ArmA 2, you know, like the CDF, the Chedaki, the Brits, you have the INPMC. They're all already existing, except they don't have any uniforms, but their original weapons are already there. In order to give you an idea on what to expect from this the whole thing as a general, is just simply look at this M16. It's ArmA 2. It's, as you can see, it's straight out of ArmA 2. The models, the textures, which looks, I guess, especially jarring, but at the same time that it looks simple, you can see here the functionalities are, well, very much improved. You have all the sights, all optics, I think you have all the PEX as well, even some suppressors. So, and if you attach them all, they work perfectly fine, including vanilla stuff and, you know, I guess the rest of the things. One problem with the optics is that some of them are not 3D. If you look, if you don't know what I mean, for example, look at the default vanilla RCO, and as you can see, the sights are not a 2D texture. However, with most of the ones included in this pack, that is not the case. They work like they would in ArmA 2. They're accurate, they're, you know, they're not misaligned or anything, but they're a 2D texture. They include alternative sights, which is always good, I guess. One other thing to note is that Russian weapons, they only accept Russian attachments, and I guess that's like understandable, but that's something that I wish to see fixed. You know, I think it's nice to go crazy with weapons as much as you want,
and you know, attach whatever you want to anything. Another thing with this release is that, well, as you can expect, the sounds, they're just ArmA 2 sounds. They're not particularly bad, but I guess most of the sounds that they have for some of the, well, mainly the HLC weapons are a lot better. So I'm hoping that in the future we had some improvements in that regard as well. Another thing that I wish to see improved, I don't know, particularly terrible, are the animations, because as you can expect, they're just ArmA 2 animations. And if you've used some of the one of the HLC weapons, they have amazing animations, and it just feels now, it feels old now that you look at it. And I guess that's fine too.
One thing that I have to say that I was really pleased about is the attachment system for some weapons. As you can see here for the G36C, there's quite a wide array of attachments that you can put in a weapon, including vanilla stuff, and it all works just fine. It works just the way you would expect it to. I don't think it has some side attachments. Yeah, it doesn't have any, but it has the silencers as well. And they work pretty good. I say some because, again, as you can see before, for the AKs, that's not the case. The AKs, I think they have a limited, more limited array of things that you can put in them. But generally speaking, yeah, that is the case for, I guess, most weapons. The pistols are, well, I guess the same thing as the rest of them are. They're ArmA 2 ports, they're working the same textures, I guess mostly the same sounds, but the config work done in them is, you know, brought up to part of the ArmA 3 standards. You know, they have the suppressors, if there is a vanilla one. I'm not sure if they made one for, they made suppressors for some of the pistols. I'm not sure. I don't think so. But in either case, they work pretty good. Yeah, as you can see, these textures are, you know, pretty atrocious. And especially if you've tried some of the some other pistol packs, I think the RH one comes to mind. You can see that, you know, you can really see the difference between ArmA 2 ports and ArmA 3 ports. So this is one of the things that I'm really hoping to see improved. As for the rocket launchers, well, again, same thing. As you can see here, pretty shoddy textures and I guess substandard modeling, but you know, they work. A very pleasant surprise for them is that they have you know, they have attachable optics in them, some of them at least. And they work just fine, they're movable, you know, everything, the same thing as before. Another thing I noticed that was a little bit weird were the shotguns. As you can see here, the M1014, aside from clipping issues, it mostly looks alright. You know, as you can see, it has all the attachments. It has a lot of attachments. For the most part, they all work. It's pretty cool. But one thing that I noticed is that for the most part, they only have slugs. I think this goes for M1014, and I think the Saiga is the same thing. Well, the Saiga for most Russian weapons only has slots for Russian attachments. And again, it only has slug rounds available. The exception for this being the AA-12, which doesn't have any attachments at all, but it has pellets, slugs, and the HE rounds, which were pretty welcome treats because they are they're really cool. You know, you can see here the HE rounds just destroy everything basically. And here you can see the difference between the slug rounds, which, you know, is basically slugs. They're not doing a whole lot of damage. And then you have the pellets. For the ground here, you have, you know, most pretty crazy. Now, all things considered, what excites me so much about this mod isn't, you know, its current state, but rather what the future of it brings. And as I said before, just having a community, you know, being able to fall back into a standard instead of just, you know, like there's snowflake practices like we have right now. It's a major game changer for ArmA modding in general. If you started in ArmA 3, a lot of the stuff in here would just look like absolute shits. If you start in ArmA 2, but like me, you're kind of getting used to ArmA 3 now, it'll probably be more tolerable. Now for the part that matters. If you have any experience with modeling, texture, animating, or really just editing configs, well, you're probably already aware of this, but if you aren't, I'm sure that if you give the boys at the cup a holler, they will 100% appreciate your assistance. And, you know, just to give this the shine that it really deserves. Once again, these are just my impressions, and I highly recommend that you download the weapons release and try it out by yourself. Until then, thank you very much for watching.